What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel, and it's time to continue our 2023 college football predictions for the 2023 college football season. Up next, it's the Oregon Ducks, a team coming off a pretty good season last year. It went 9-3 overall in the regular season, 10-3 overall in 2022. This is a team that had a chance to make the Pac-12 championship, but ended out coming up short of that opportunity to win a Pac-12 championship. Looking at this Oregon team heading into 2023, a lot of production coming back for both sides of the football, but the biggest return being Bo Nix back at quarterback, potentially a Heisman Trophy candidate, and obviously a top 10 quarterback heading into the 2023 season. I think this Oregon team should be pretty strong, so let's get right to the schedule now for Oregon, and let's look at it here. And again, coming off a 10-3 season last year, you look at the schedule for Oregon in 2023. They'll play Portland State, Texas Tech on the road, and Hawaii in the non-conference. So they don't have a tough non-conference schedule. I mean, it's really not that too tough, but you know that Texas Tech game on the road will be their toughest non-conference game, and they do almost have to go through the entire majority of the Pac-12. So you look at the schedule for Oregon, it's not too bad, but you know they do have some tough road games. But let's get right to the schedule now and go game by game here for Oregon and give you official prediction for this team heading into 2023. So they start things off here with Portland State here on September 2nd. Easy non-conference game to kick off the year for this Oregon team. It's not Georgia or anything like that this year that they had to play last year in the first game. And I think Oregon wins this one pretty easily. This is a game they probably should score maybe more than 40 points. And I think Bo Nix has what it takes to throw a lot of touchdown passes in this game. I think this Oregon offense is going to be pretty explosive. They were really explosive last year, and I'm kind of expecting that to be the case this upcoming season. So I got Oregon starting out 1-0. Then it's Texas Tech on the road on September the 9th. Pretty tough road game here for Oregon. It's not going to be an easy game. Texas Tech does have a talented team heading into this season. You look at this roster. All the production they have coming back this year is pretty good for them. I think that they'll give Oregon a challenge here in this game. It's one of those 50-50 type games for me because of how Texas Tech finished the season last year, and I kind of expecting them to be a top 25 team this year. And I do like Texas Tech in this game. I'm going to go with the upset here. It's a 50-50 game, and usually when it's a 50-50 game, home field advantage does play the difference, and that being the Texas Tech Raiders with home field advantage. So I got Oregon losing their first game on the road at Texas Tech. And I got Oregon, though, taking care of business against Hawaii. So I got Oregon now improving to 2-1. Colorado coming up next here on September the 23rd. This is an interesting game here in the month of September against this Colorado team. A team that's getting a lot of hype. I mean, everybody's really hyping this Colorado program up. I just don't think they're going to be really that good in their first year under Coach Sanders. I think they can only win maybe 4 or 5 games perhaps. If they can win like 5 games or 6 games, that's a huge accomplishment in your first year with Deion Sanders, but I don't think that's going to be the case this year. I think Oregon is just way too talented, and then with that being said, I think Oregon wins this one by at least maybe a couple touchdowns, maybe about a touchdown perhaps, but I think Oregon wins that one pretty easily, and I got them improving to 3-1. Stanford on the road coming up after that on September the 30th. They'll play back-to-back road games here with Stanford and Washington. We'll start with the Stanford game. They're in a rebuild mode right now. Stanford, I don't expect to be all that good this year. I think Oregon could take care of business in this game, but it is on the road. I'm not going to say it's a really easy game for Oregon. At the end of the day, I think Oregon is just way too talented, and Stanford, with them being in a rebuild year, I'm going to go with the Ducks here to knock off Stanford on the road, and I got Oregon improving to 4-1. Washington on the road next here on October the 14th, and they get a bye week before playing this game. That really is a good spot for a bye week if you're an Oregon fan, if you are also the Oregon players. Washington, though, has got a lot of production coming back. We saw that from last year. Washington made some progress and definitely had a shot to win the Pac-12 championship last year. But you look at this team, you look at the game, how it went last year. Washington defeated Oregon on the road. Could that be the case this year? Could Oregon go on the road and defeat Washington? I don't know. It's a really tough game to call. And with that being said, a 50-50 game for me. I'm going to go with Washington here with home field advantage. And with that being said, I think Oregon does lose that one on the road. But Oregon does fall to 4-2 here. That's not going to be an easy game. I think it's going to be a really back-and-forth game, maybe an offensive battle. You never know. And Michael Penix coming back at quarterback is huge for that Washington team. Washington State after that on October the 21st. This is kind of like a trap game for Oregon. I think you can kind of expect this one to be a trap game. I think Washington State's going to be a pretty good team this year. I think they're potentially to be a top 25 team as well. I don't think anybody's getting really, giving this Washington State team pretty much hype this upcoming season. I think people are kind of sleeping on this Washington State team. Maybe they are a sleeper team in the Pac-12 this year. Home field advantage, though, does play the difference in this game. I'm not going to say that Oregon blows out Washington State. I think this will be a really closer game than people say, but I think Oregon wins this one pretty easily by maybe a couple scores, and I got Oregon improving to 5-2. Utah on the road next on October the 28th. This is an interesting road game here for Oregon. If you saw my Utah video from yesterday, I already did predict Utah to win this game. The reason why is just because of home field advantage, and I think both productions are the returning production for both of these teams are pretty similar. Utah's won the Pac-12 for the last couple years. Remember Utah defeated Oregon in the Pac-12 championship? That was the case, that year. And it just seems like Utah has now controlled the Pac-12 for the last couple years. And, Utah, with them being at home, Cam Rising coming back at quarterback, this is a close game for me. I'm going to go with Utah, though, here to knock off Oregon in this game. And I got Oregon now falling to 5-3. Cal here on November the 4th. This is a home game for Oregon. I don't expect Cal to be all that good this year. I think they're kind of similar to Colorado and Stanford. They're kind of in a rebuild mode right now, and that's going to be the case, I think, with California this year. They do have a pretty tough schedule as well. I haven't really studied Cal that much either, so with that being said, I think Oregon wins this one pretty easily by a couple scores, maybe 3 scores, you never know. I'm going to go with the Ducks here to get a win at home against Cal. Then it's USC after that at home on November the 11th, potentially a college game day type game here, and obviously an ESPN type game. Offensive battle here in this game. I think both defenses will probably struggle in this game. I mean, it is in late November, so you're talking about a game that could be really high scoring. Home field advantage does play favor in Oregon in this game. USC does have, I think, the better offense. The question is, I think both, are talented teams. But with that being said, home field advantage does play the difference here for this Oregon team. I'm going to go with Oregon here to knock off USC. And if you saw my USC video, I already predicted Oregon to win this game. So I got Oregon winning that one there on November the 11th against USC. And I got them improving to 7-3. Arizona State on the road next here on November 18th. You're coming off a big win against USC. Maybe Oregon is overlooking this team, this Arizona State team in the next week, but I really don't expect the Sun Devils to be all that good this year. Arizona State's kind of in a rebuild year. Same thing with Cal, Stanford, and Colorado. I think Oregon goes on the road and wins this one pretty easily, and I got the Ducks winning that one on the road at Arizona State. Then it's Oregon State to end things out here on November 24th. Big time game here, big rival game. This game is on a Friday. This is a revenge game here for Oregon, but it won't be an easy game. You got DJ Ogale coming in, the transfer from Clemson. How good of a quarterback is he going to be this year in the Pac-12 with that new system? But, Oregon's got home field advantage in this game. I'm kind of expecting Oregon to be ready for this one. I think they're kind of not focused on Arizona State the last week, and then next week they're really focused on this game. They've been looking for revenge on this team now for over a year. So Oregon, I think, will win on this one in a fairly close game. And with that being said, I think Oregon does win that one at home. And I got Oregon finishing with a record of 9-3 in 2023, so same record as last year. I think this was the same record I had Oregon last year, going 9-3. I expected them to, kind of had a step back year after they got a new coach and everything. But I think this is still pretty a tough schedule for Oregon. You got Washington on the road, Utah on the road, and Texas Tech in the non-conference on the road. So those are very tough road games. But I think it's kind of the same way with Oregon. I just think they're going to be an up and down team, but I think Oregon does finish 9-3 in 2023. That's my official prediction for the Oregon Ducks. Let me guys know what you think about this Oregon team. What do you think their record will be in 2023? And stay tuned here for more sports content on the Lucas Ross Sports Channel.